of the segments in this movie are outrageous in some way. Let's do it. The first segment that we see is the narrative that plays in between each segment, and this is called Diet Phantasma. Basically, this company is testing this new soda called Diet Phantasma, and they have these subjects in there drinking it. What they don't know is that the soda is made of poltergeists, and every time somebody drinks it, something terrible happens. The first guy literally bleeds out from his eyes and dies. The researchers are just like, darn, and they clean the room up for the next people. We then jump into our first full segment, which is called Coochie Coochie Coo, and this is about these two girls, Lacey and Kaylee, who decide they're going to go out for one last night of trick-or-treating. So they decide to dress up as big babies, and they kind of get taken aback when these little kids come up to them and tell them the mommy is gonna get you. So the girls just continue to be obnoxious and run amok all night, and then suddenly they turn and they see this big house that they somehow did not see before. Haley brings up, like, maybe we shouldn't go in there. This is the area where that girl went missing last year. She was the one dressed as a cheerleader. Lacey doesn't care, and she knocks on the door anyway, and this suspicious arm comes out. And they proceed to go in the house and see this fucking thing in the doorway, which then slams the door shut and locks them in. So the girls panic and try to find a way out of the house, but they keep coming across weird shit, like these adults acting as babies. Eventually they find a girl in a cheerleader outfit, which they know is the girl that went missing last year. They start to find more things throughout the house that leads them to understand that the mommy was this woman that got pregnant as a result of SA, so she ended up committing suicide. Now, whoever comes into her house becomes her child. Mommy sings this lullaby, which makes the girls fall asleep, and she drags Lacey away. Kaylee follows them to the basement where she sees that Lacey has become one of Mommy's children. Kaylee, hypnotized by this lullaby, lays down and becomes one of Mommy's children as well. We briefly cut back to Diet Phantasma and see the drink kill more subjects. And then our next segment is Ut Supra Sic Infra. Police have this guy, Enric, in custody because he is the sole survivor of this mass murder that happened at a Halloween party where everybody was found with their eyes gouged out. We see that Enric doesn't remember exactly what happened, so they bring him back to the house where the party happened to try and jog his memory. Through flashbacks, we see that the group entered this house that used to belong to a psychic, and they found a room with a phone in the center of it. And on the wall was written Ut Supra Sic Infra, which means as above, so below. So Enric reads this out loud 3 times when suddenly that phone that is not connected to anything starts to ring, and he answers it. We see he listens for a second before he starts to convulse, and then the camera cuts. So Enric, along with the investigators, go into the house, and he sees that phrase again and once again recites it, and the phone starts to ring. Somebody else picks up the phone, but Enric starts to convulse again, but this time he starts to throw up eyeballs, a bunch of them. He then looks at everybody, now fully possessed, and they fly up to the ceiling where he crawls up to them and proceeds to gouge all of their eyes out and eat them. When he's done, he drops all the now dead bodies back onto the floor and leaves. Then see some more victims of Diet Phantasma. One woman gets possessed and eventually has to be burned alive. We then cut to my favorite segment, Fun Size. This is about these 2 couples, Haley and Austin, and Lauren and Josh, who are trick-or-treating. Lauren tells Haley that Josh has proposed to her, but she actually wants to break up with him but doesn't know how to do it yet. Eventually, this group comes across this bowl of candy that has a sign asking them to only take one, and when they start looking at this candy, none of them recognize any of the names. When one of them takes a candy bar, he unwraps it to see it looks phallic. Austin goes to grab a second piece of candy, and this hand comes up and grabs him and pulls him in. Josh tries to save him, it pulls him in too, and the 2 girls make a run for it, but the candy bowl flies towards them and takes them in too. The group wakes up in this weird house where they eventually find a key that they think leads to the outside, but then they realize they're being stalked by Fun Size, this weird supernatural mascot. Fun Size then takes Austin, who ends up on this conveyor belt, and the group is not able to get him out. His body ends up being chopped into pieces and turned into candy, so that's the candy that they had seen in the bowl earlier. He managed to get the key from Austin's severed hand, but then Haley is taken and she is killed by having gumballs exploded through her face. She somehow is still alive through that and just puts herself on the conveyor belt to end it all. At one point they chopped off Fun Size's hand and all these like Skittles started coming out. And now Lauren and Josh try to escape through a vent, but they look down and see that it's a conveyor belt. And when they turn around, these 2 are waving at them and lock them in. As they're being conveyored away to their death, Lauren decides this is a great point to tell Josh that she actually didn't want to marry him and he's killed. Lauren is actually able to crawl through another vent and make it outside, but when she turns, Fun Size is right there and he kills her. The segment ends with two kids and their mom going to this candy bowl, and they also think the candy's really weird. And the little boy sees the sign to please take one, and he says, "I took two, is that bad?" And suddenly the candy bowl flies at them, and we know they're the next victims of fun size. We then see more Diet Phantasma, and this time the subject is this kid, and they greatly lowered the extract so people won't explode immediately. But the kid asks for a second soda, and that's the one that explodes him. Next segment is Kid Print. I'm sorry, this is the only photo I could find from this one. This is about this guy named Tim who runs this company called Kid Print, where he takes these photos of these kids because there's a serial killer attacking kids in the neighborhood. So parents pay him to take photos and videos of their children to use in case the kids go missing. So Tim goes home to his wife and two daughters, and they go to a party where he's approached by a police officer who informs him that another girl has gone missing. And he tells Tim, "I know your office is closed, but can you go get the photos and videos of her so we can post this because she's missing?" So Tim goes back to his store where he finds something really shocking, because in the back playing on the monitors are videos of these children, but they're begging for their lives and crying. And sure enough, he finds that girl that is missing being attacked by his employee Bruce. So this dude, Bruce, that works for the company is the serial killer they've been looking for. And it turns out he's actually using Tim's videos of these kids with their personal information to track them down and kidnap them. And Bruce has been taking videos of himself torturing and killing these kids. So Bruce sees Tim and just beats the shit out of him and leaves him. Then that missing girl and another boy that was kidnapped find Tim, and they assume that he's working with Bruce, and they beat him to death. As those two kids are leaving, we hear this off screen, but Bruce captures them and kills them. We then cut to a news report talking about how Tim was the murderer the whole time and it's over because he's dead. And the news interviews Bruce, and he tells them that he couldn't believe that his boss was doing this, but he's going to take on Kid Print and continue this business. We then cut back to Diet Phantasma. The researcher is getting more and more upset because this product needs to be on the shelves by Halloween. This time, they test 5 subjects at once, all of which die violently. Everyone except this little girl who looks up with white eyes like she is possessed. When the researcher asks her what her favorite soda is, she says Diet Phantasma. So they've done it. Somebody has drank this product and has not died. So he immediately orders them to use her formula and get this drink on the shelves. The final full segment we get is called Home Haunt. This one is about this guy Keith who is obsessed with Halloween, and every year he gets his son Zach involved in setting up Dr. Mortis's House of Horrors. Eventually we see Zach as a teenager, and he no longer wants anything to do with this. He's embarrassed. Keith convinces him to help him for one more year, so he takes him to this thrift store to pick up some Halloween decorations. He finds this record hidden away in a staff-only area called Halloween Horrors, and he ends up stealing it. Keith opens his haunted house, everybody in the neighborhood comes, but when they go in and play this record, it bursts into flames. And this weird supernatural shit starts happening. Everything starts shaking, doors start slamming, so everybody runs in terror. And suddenly, these monsters in the haunt start to come to life and kill people. The further they go through the haunt to try and get out, more people die until it's just Nancy, the wife, and Zach. Nancy and Zach manage to escape the haunt, but this witch flies out and follows them. And we see her just wreak havoc. Like, she brutally kills 2 trick-or-treaters out on the street. And the final shot we get is the outside of the haunt, and the monster starts to come to life and break through the wall. We do get a mid-credits scene of a Diet Phantasma commercial now that it's officially on the shelves. This commercial reveals that the soda is made from actual poltergeists. And we see this little girl who takes a sip of the soda and her eyes go white, and in this deep demonic voice she talks about how good the soda is, and the movie ends.